Chapter 26 of Married Twice to Salted Fish. A spell of autumn rain and a cold carried away the last trace of summer heat. Before the rain fell in the hall, a large water vat had been placed in the hall. The rainwater kept striking the surface of the water. The sound of splashing fell innocently on the ears. Hualu passed by the study and she saw that the window was open and that the lamp was still lit. She thought it was the Xiaojun reading in the study, but when she walked in, she found that it was her family's eldest young master sitting hunched over at the desk. Hualu checked repeatedly. She wiped her eyes several times and made sure she wasn't seeing wrong. She asked, "Eldest young master, what are you doing in the study?" The eldest young master only ever came to the study to annoy Xiaojun, but right now Xiaojun wasn't even here. Lu Wancheng said, as though he had nothing left to live for. "I'm solving a problem." Solving a problem? Hualu leaned forward and glanced at it. The writing on the paper was a mess. She couldn't understand it anyway. She reached out to close the window, but Lu Wancheng stopped her. "All this thinking is making me dizzy. I want some air blowing in for a bit." "That won't do, young master." Hualu firmly closed the window. Xiaojun said, "You can't be exposed to the cold wind now." Lu Wanzheng dropped the pen and slumped against his wheelchair. "I have a headache and I'm so damn tired. I don't want to think anymore." He has just been thinking seriously for an hour. The high intensity mental work was really exhausting. It reminds him of the miserable days when he had to muddle through his homework even though he was already sick of studying. Hualu thoughtfully put away the pen, ink, papers, and inkstone. "If young master is tired, then just go and sleep first." Lu Wancheng looked out of the window. The sky was covered by grey clouds and the autumn rain was drizzling outside. It was indeed weather most suitable for sleeping. He has been diligent working for an hour. It was time to lie down. Lin Qingyu had just changed into his inner robe after having finished his bath. He heard the door open with a creak behind him and damp cold wind came rushing in. Lin Qingyu turned around, meeting the eyes of the person who came. He said indifferently, "You're back." His long hair was only half dried and it fell on his chest, soaking his inner robe. In order to fit the body comfortably, the inner robe was made of silk, which was easily permeable by water. Although Lin Qingyu was forced to marry, in the end he was only 18 years old. His figure was much more slender and a lot less developed than that of an adult man in his 20s or 30s. His body, untainted by even a speck of dust, seemed both hidden and visible under the translucent silk. Lu Wancheng was slightly startled. He then looked away and said, What kind of bath is taken in the daytime?" Lin Qingyu also knew that the way he was dressed right now wasn't very dignified. He was a little uncomfortable at first, but seeing Lu Wancheng even more uncomfortable than he was made him feel a little more at ease. "Is there anyhow mansion rule saying that you can't bathe during the day?" "No, but it's easier for you to get seen if you take a bath during the day," Lu Wancheng teased rather indecently. "See, didn't I catch you? Are you angry?" Lin Qingyu became calmer. "I'm not angry. You and I are both men and Swan brothers too. I don't mind." Lu Wancheng covered his chest. "If you mention the word Swan brothers again, I'm going to vomit blood for you to see." Lin Qingyu's eyes flashed. Given Lu Wancheng's current condition, once he vomited blood, it really would be the time to prepare for his funeral. "Fine, I won't mention it." Lu Wancheng instantly had a very flattered expression. Seeing that his complexion wasn't looking too good, Lin Qingyu helped him onto the bed and examined his pulse for him. It seems you haven't been sleeping very well lately. Isn't it because of my cough? It would be strange if I could sleep well. Lin Qingyu saw through him but didn't expose him, simply saying, people who have been ill for a long time should avoid mental stress. Wancheng, no matter what it is, you have to relax. Lu Wancheng smiled and said, I will try my best. After the autumn rain, the sky turned clear and bright. Lu Wancheng's condition also took a slight turn for the better. The Lu clan's branch family, after having stayed for a little less than half a month at the Nanan House mansion, was finally leaving. Lu Biashao came especially to the Blue Wind Pavilion to bid farewell to two of them, saying that they would be leaving for Lilan tomorrow. Lu Biashao was quite emotional. When he had come to the Nanan Hao mansion last year, Lu Wancheng was not so ill. From time to time, he had been invited to go out and have fun together. On the occasion for his parting, Lu Wancheng had even treated him to the capital's most prestigious Xinjiao Shan. Xinjiao Shan was a restaurant by the river. Their signature, Huanyang Mo Hu, shocked Lu Baishao, who had been visiting the capital for the first time. After Lu Baishao returned to Linan, he searched for northern chefs everywhere, trying to recreate that Han Yan Mo Hu. However, the taste always fell short by that little bit. Lu Wancheng laughed when he heard it. Sixth brother might as well have the words, quickly invite me to Xinyo Shan written on his face. Lu Baishao said embarrassed. Where? I was just saying it offhand, but to tell you the truth, I did go to Xinlu Shan yesterday. However, I was told by the attendant that the private rooms have already been reserved for the next 3 days. Alas, as expected of the capital, I should have gone earlier. Lin Qingyu asked, did you say that you and the guest of the Nanan Hao mansion? Oh. Lin Qingyu asked, did you say that you are a guest of the Nanan House mansion? That I didn't do, Lu Baishao said in surprise. It's just for a meal. Do you have to introduce yourself for that? Lin Qingyu said, in the capital, there are influential officials everywhere. Exalting those above and stomping on those below is common, especially in places like Jinshu Shan, where nobility and high-ranking officials gather. If you really want to go, you can ask young Master Hao to accompany you. Lu Baishao looked expectantly at Lu Wancheng. Is that all right? Wancheng's condition, Lin Qingyu said, he just needs to be watched over carefully. Recently, Lu Wancheng's thoughts have obviously grown heavy, which was not conducive to recuperation. Going out to relax a bit wasn't a bad idea. Moreover, if he didn't go out now, Lu Wancheng he might not have another chance to go out and relax. Oh my gosh, it's coming. The winter is coming. Lu Wancheng thought for a while, then asked with a smile, Qingyu, we have never had the chance to go out together to look around, have we? Lin Qingyu nodded. Since their wedding, he has only gone out with Lu Wancheng twice, once to go back to the Lin residence and the other to Changsheng Temple. Both times they'd ridden the carriage to get there. It has been a long time since he's seen the prosperity of the capital. Then, how about you and go to Jinsha Shan for dinner? While we are there, I will have an order of Han Yan Mo Ho packed to present to sixth brother when we come back. Alright, I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that dish name super freaking wrong. Gosh. Liu Baishao thanked the two of them, feeling that something wasn't quite right. Lin Qingyu pushed Lu Wancheng out of the door. He also brought Huan Tong and several guards from the Hao mansion with him. At the entrance of Yangxin Street, Lin Qingyu stopped the carriage. It's not far from Jinshu Shan. Let's walk the rest of the way. Lu Wancheng said, but walking is very tiring. Lin Qingyu was speechless. Would we let you walk? Am I not just concerned that you might grow tired from pushing me? Lin Qingyu paused and said, it's fine. No matter what hardship, it was only going to be for 2 or 3 months more. Lu Wancheng laughed softly and said, Qingyu, you have been so gentle lately. I'm not used to it. Lin Qingyu said indifferently, and I'm not used to your recent lack of chatter. Lu Wancheng was silent for a while. Then he smiled. Have I been that lately? Lin Qingyu refused to comment and pushed Lu Wancheng into the crowd. At this time, it was still early to have dinner. All the shops hung their signboards high in front of their door. Hawkers on the stalls called out one after another. The people passing by included not only ordinary people but also many well dressed that marked them as completely coming from wealthy families. Anyone who saw the immortal like beauty pushing the son of nobility in a wheelchair down the street couldn't help but turn their head to take a look. Fortunately, both of them are used to being the focus of people's attention and didn't think much of it. Huan Tong took a deep whiff and said, Young master, do you smell roasting chestnuts? Lin Qingyu said, Go buy some if you want. Huan Tong said happily, I'll go here. Lu Wancheng also took a sniff. Why can't I smell it? In severely ill people, it was common for their five senses to become blurred. Lin Qingyu hesitated for a moment and said, Let's go over there and have a look. The two came to stand in front of a stall. The vendor was selling all kinds of jewelry. Although the materials were cheap, their styles were elegant and varied. There were many novels and special designs. Among them, there were jade crowns and hair clasps that men used to tie their hair. Lu Wancheng thought that Lin Qingyu wanted to buy some jade crowns, but he carefully helped him choose two. Lin Qingyu ignored him and picked up a woman's buyao. He weighed it a little, then paid for it. Lu Wancheng asked, Are you going to give it to your mother-in-law? No, it's for you. For me? A buyao is about the same length as a brush. In the future, whenever you want to fiddle with a brush, just fiddle with this. I don't want to be woken up in the middle of the night and have to change clothes. Lu Wancheng took the buyao with a smile and really did twirl it in his hand. He teased, No matter how gentle Dr. Lin is, he still remembers his enemies so clearly. His enmities so clearly. As they walked, they finally found themselves in Jinshu Shan. Upon learning that they were the young master and Shaojun of the Nanan Hao mansion, the shopkeeper said no more and immediately ordered someone to take them to a private room. Jinshu Shan had 2 floors and the best spot was by the windows on the 2nd floor. Looking out, you were given a view of a river and looking in, you can see the stage. On the stage were a few entertainers playing the zither, regaling the patrons with music. The sound of the zither was clear and melodious, deep and far-reaching. The women playing the zither were also elegant and beautiful, charming and graceful. Hearing the music, Huan Tong became very enthusiastic, and seeing the girls, he became even more energetic. He asked Lin Qingyu, Young master, who do you think looks better, the girl in the blue or the one in the pink? Lu Wancheng thought that Lin Qingyu wouldn't answer such a senseless question, but Lin Qingyu said, "They both look good." Lu Wancheng dot dot dot. Seeing that the somewhat complicated expression on Lu Wancheng's face, Lin Qingyu asked, "What is it?" "It's nothing," Lu Wancheng said quietly. "I almost forgot that you like women." Lin Qingyu said, "What does this have to do with liking men or women? Everyone knows how to appreciate beauty." Lu Wancheng raised his eyebrows. "Then let's go closer to admire it better." "All right." Lin Qingyu wasn't interested, but Lu Wancheng wanted to see. So he had no objections. He pushed Lu Wancheng out of the private room and they stood beside the railing. With Lin Qingyu standing there, the guests on the second floor all stopped listening to the song. They were also distracted from admiring the woman. One by one, they all turned to look at him. Fortunately, they all knew that the guests on the second floor were all wealthy and respected people, and so they dared not to look too blatantly. Sitting opposite the two of them, separated by a bit of distance, was a man dressed in dark clothes. Lin Qingyu met his gaze and his eyes instantly turned fierce. Lu Wancheng followed his gaze and asked, "Who is that?" "The Crown Prince." "Ugh, he's here." Ugh. Lu Wancheng's lazy eyes suddenly opened. The Crown Prince's name was Shao Chang, and he was the eldest son of current emperor. Like the Nanan Hao, the emperor's fate for sons was weak. Even having a harem that numbered in thousands, he had but scant few sons who have grown up safely. When finally, after much difficulty, the empress became pregnant and was expected to give birth to a young son, who could have expected that she would give birth to a foolish child? However, no matter how few princes there are, fights for the throne can't be avoided. Shao Chen and his concubine mother plotted for many years and finally became the biggest winner and entering the East Palace 3 years ago. See, if the emperor has thousands of concubines and if he had this harem, and at that time if he had like men and women, I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's a problem with the emperor, like what's the it's not the quantity is not going to make up for the quality. Okay, your crown prince is trash. Shao Chang looked unabashedly at Lin Qingyu. The corners of his lips ticked up, showing great interest. Ugh, move on, dude. He's married. Shut the freaking hell up. And he's married to your cousin. Ugh. Looking just like this at Lin Qingyu, took a sip of wine cup and then summoned the imperial bodyguards, instructing him. Lin Qingyu reacted his gaze and said, "Let's go back in." Lu Wancheng said, "No hurry, we will just quietly watch him pretend." The guard held the wine cup that Shaojun had drunk out of. He walked halfway around to the two of them and said, "Greetings to young Master Hao, Lin Shaojun. This cup of wine is being given to Shaojun by His Royal Highness the Crown Prince. He hopes Shaojun would kindly accept." Ah, the audacity of this freaking Crown Prince! He drank from the cup and he wants to give it to someone's wife? That's so freaking disgusting. And in front of his husband, no less. Ah, talk about freaking a lecher. Lin Qingyu glanced at the wine cup, feeling only that it was dirtying his eyes. "There is no need for me to accept. I don't drink." The guard's expression changed, and he said, "Lin Shaojun, with all due respect, do you understand whose wine is it that you are rejecting?" "Naturally, it's the Crown Prince's wine," Lu Wancheng murmured. "Or was it perhaps the wine of the guards?" The guard's expression turned even uglier. Does young Master Hao and Shao Jun really wish to reject His Highness's kindness? Lu Wancheng laughed, and his laughter was chilling. Go back and tell the Crown Prince. Just tell him. It has been 3 years since Princess Jing Chun has been married off to the north. Princess Jing Chun? Lin Qingyu remembered the name. The Princess Jing Chun was originally a handmaid under the Shangyi Bureau. Because of her beauty and charm, her bright eyes and kindly manner, she was favored by the King of the North, who had come visiting from afar 3 years ago. The King of the North fell in love at first sight with Jing Chun and immediately asked the Emperor to allow her to marry him. The people of the Northern Territory was a frontier tribe, and they have had constant disputes with the current dynasty for many years. In order to stabilize the border, the emperor personally conferred the marriage, appointed Jing Chun as a princess, and betrothed her to the king of the north. He had even asked the crown prince to preside over the two's wedding ceremony to show his sincerity. Why was Lu Wancheng mentioning his why was Lu Wancheng mentioning this person in front of the crown prince? Well, it definitely seems like his ex-flame. The guard was left with no choice but to go back and relay his message. Hearing this, Shao Cheng suddenly raised his head and stared intently at Lu Wancheng's face, as though he could glean some clue from it. But no matter how much he looked, he could see nothing but a sickly seedling with a smile on the corner of his lips. The group returned to the private room where Huan Tong said very uneasily, Young Master Hao, young master, that was the crown prince, the future emperor. Offending him like that, will he have our heads chopped off in the future? Lu Wancheng said to deliberately scare him. It's very possible, but by then I would already be long under the ground and he wouldn't be able to cut off my head. Huan Tong was about to cry from fright. Young Master Hao! Lin Qingyu suddenly said, Indeed, that's why you shouldn't have to worry about this matter. Lu Wancheng was momentarily silent. He then said lazily, All right, I shall listen to Dr. Lin. After this incident, the two of them were no longer in any mood to play. They quickly ate dinner and returned to the mansion with an order of Hanyan Mo Hu. After staying out for half a day, Lu Wancheng was already exhausted. After washing up, he lay on the bed to rest. It was still early and Lin Qingyu didn't feel at all sleepy, so he headed to the study. He has taken quite an interest in fragrances lately, and he has been trying to recreate the incense he smelled in Fengyi Palace that day. Suddenly, it started to rain outside. Amidst the hazy night rain, Lin Qingyu suddenly caught sight of a figure outside the window. Lin Qingyu opened the window only to see Lu Wancheng, cloak draped over his shoulders, holding onto the window edge. His long hair was scattered and he was short of breath, as if it had taken all his strength to walk all the way from the bedroom to here. Lin Qingyu was stunned. Where are the servants? Lu Wancheng sidestepped the question. I can't do it. What? I can choose not to care about other things, and I don't feel like caring about them either. But this matter, I can't just not worry about it. Lu Wancheng looked at him and said solemnly, You were born to reach high as a mountain. Even if you keep on doing evil things, I can never allow you to be reduced to mere nothing. Lin Qingyu's eyes opened wide. The cold air invaded his body, and Lu Wancheng was overcome with a heart-rending coughing fit. As if he could no longer keep standing, he slowly slipped against the wall. Lin Qingyu quickly walked out of the study and shielded him from the wind and rain with his body. Stop talking and get in the room first. Lu Wancheng grabbed his arms and murmured in a low voice, "That's why I must find the best solution that will take care of this problem once and for all." Lin Qingyu grew silent. He had never seen such a Lu Wancheng before. It was as though he were tied down by shackles he couldn't break free of. He was completely different from the young man who was leisurely whistling on the porch that day. He had always disdained Lu Wancheng for being too lazy, too big hearted to care about anything. But now, instead, he hoped that Lu Wancheng could spend what little time he had left as simple and unthinking as before. After an unknown length of time, Lu Wancheng's grip suddenly tightened, breaking the silence. "Qingyu," Lin Qingyu said, "I'm here. I think." A darkness flashed Lu Wancheng's eyes, sharp and deep. In the end, he was ill after all, and his face remained pale. His mouth reeked of blood, and his lips were as red as blood. "I want Shao Cheng's life." Lin Qingyu's chest grew slightly hot. He turned his head over and held Lu Wancheng's trembling wrist. He said warmly, "Do you need help?" See, look at them just plotting murder. I mean, just saying, like, "Oh, yeah, I want his life. Let's murder him." Okay, do you want me to, brew some medicine, write a prescription of a poison on the side of another poison? Supportive husbands. This is what I call supportive husbands. Not support only in the good deeds, support them in the bad deeds too. That's what makes you the perfect